When you allow the lie of your personality to keep on spewing out the childhood that actually you never had, when you keep on letting it spew out like that in the present moment, what's going to happen is you're going to find feedback in the system that's going to convince you, I told you that's the way it is. I told you. Sure, look, he's doing that to me. Yeah, but you pulled out the measuring tape in the morning. You brought it into being. As imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes. This place doesn't mind what way. If you want to be an armed robber in this place, okay, cool. Like, awareness doesn't care. Awareness doesn't mind what this is or how it shows itself. It's a multiplicity and diversity.
Welcome to the Biba frequency, home to conversations with consciousness. I'm Biba, your host. Hi folks, welcome back to the Biba frequency podcast. I'm Biba and I'm your host, and today I invited back onto the show Tommy Ellis. Tommy's a very dear friend of mine, and it's like, you know, the years ago you put the batteries in the Duracell bunny, and the Duracell bunny just keeps like hitting the drum, ding 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 ding. Tommy's like that. I just press play, press record, and he just talks. And when Tommy talks, you want to listen, because he speaks a very clean truth, a very coherent understanding of how to be in this world and how to be within yourself and how not to be, and what's really at play here, and why are you not getting the results that you could be getting. And he has the ability to just break it down in so many ways, like a Rubik's cube. He just keeps going in, getting it. If you're not going to get it that way, he keeps sending the same message in a million different ways. And in this conversation, he did just that. And he wrapped it up with a nice Greek salad ingredients, 10-step formula to Tommy's happiness. And I love him to bits. Him and his girlfriend, Rachel, she's an astrologer. Tommy's an energy facilitator. He's velvetvoice.ie. He's a very dear friend to me, and he means a lot to me because he's a truther. He knows a lot of truth, and he's helped me have a look in the mirror to see what I'm not and what I am. And anybody who has the ability to do that is very valuable and worth knowing and worth investigating. And so enjoy the show. Tommy, thank you, and I love you to bits. Welcome back.
Ignition.
Lights are on?
All lights are on. Recording, mics are on, cameras are on. We're lit. In more ways than one. We're lit. Here we go, B.
Here we go. We were just talking about salads.
Yeah.
Tell me about your master salad.
So, I've come across lots of things that I would have witnessed in different places, and straight away there's like this little sub-vocalization that goes on, you know, when you're in your teens or 20s or even 30s, and it's the automatic response is doubt. It's just doubt. I can't do that. He can do that, or she can do that, or this, that, and the other. And when I went to Greece with Rachel, they were producing these, obviously, because it's Greece, they were producing these amazing Greek salads. And straight away, when I see something like that now, there's no doubt. I've no doubt. I'm like, I have to build one of them. I just have to see how that works. So I did. And then I got a bit technical with it. So I saw them so I was in loads of different restaurants in Greece, right? And we'd always get a Greek salad. And then you'd be able to adjudicate from all the different little restaurants you were in, what was the one that you liked? So I talked to Rachel about what was the one she liked and why she liked it, and just get into the kind of details of it. And then when I came home, I was like, I'd love a Greek salad. Right, well, what are we going to do? So then got the ingredients, got all the bits and pieces. And I've never built something like that before. So I got it, and I put it on my notes app, and I started to follow a formula and then refine the formula. And now there's 10 steps. And if I follow those 10 steps, it doesn't matter if I forget it. It doesn't matter how I feel, what I think. It doesn't matter what's going on. Follow the 10 steps and do it exactly as is on those 10 steps. And every single time I'm producing fantastic Greek salads. Every
That's so
time.
good.
Because it's a
So
formula.
good.
It's a
Okay.
formula. There's a friend of mine. You should have a conversation with him on here. His name is Jeff Fitzpatrick. And I call him Geometry Jeff. And his knowledge of sacred geometry, it's incredible. I collapsed in Lidl on Cork Street one day having a conversation with him. I couldn't believe what he was saying to me. I literally had the shop down by myself. I'm sitting in the middle of the aisle going, how? No way. He's talking about Metatron's cube. And anyway, you should get Jeff on here. Geometry Jeff. He's really amazing.
Great.
And he's now hanging out with the top. He's now considered one of the top sacred geometry people in the world, Jeff is. He's hanging out with Scott Onstad and all of these authors that write on that subject. So the thing about him is he explained to me simply. He explained something simply to me one day about the golden ratio, which is the number 1 to 1.614. It's something like that. That's the golden ratio. And it's a ratio that's found in nature everywhere.
You would just love this. The more numbers, the better for your mind.
I couldn't believe what he was telling me. So he was saying that your finger, right, from here to here is 1, and then there's 1.614. So the golden ratio, mathematically, in the Biba body, the Rachel body, the Tommy body, the Niall body, same ratio. There's a ratio. That's production. That's production. So I'm here, I make the Greek salad, 10 steps, that's the Greek salad, sorted, really good. Balsamic vinegar, the whole thing, nailed it. Right? Then there's us. We don't think we're produced. We think there's mathematics that is very, very obvious running through our whole body. Mathematics is how the proportions, the symmetry, it's produced. But what produced it needs to come into this place, forget what it is, forget about the production, don't talk about the golden ratio, and walk around thinking I'm Darren. But that's the forgetter veils. People don't realize that they've wound down into this place and they've left the ocean. They've wound down into a wave that calls herself Magellan. And I'm Magellan. It's absolutely stunning that people don't quite, they just, well, this is what I am. I'm Magellan. I'm an accountant. I work in the IFSC. No, that's not true. It's never been true. It's never going to be true. It doesn't matter how much your body tries to wash, rinse, repeat, that you're Magellan. It's not true. This place it comes in at the speed of light and it hits a boundary. The boundary slows this place down into a density, and then you get to have an experience here. But you have to forget what you are in order to have an experience. Because if I knew right now that I'm pure light at the speed of thought, not at the speed of light, that I'm the absolute, if I have that experience here, I'm not going to make a Greek salad. I'm not going to do it. Because I'm omnipotent, I'm omniscient, I'm everywhere all the time. everywhere, all the time, the all in all, the bigness, the absolute, the whatever, all the non-dual sort of language of what we are, all that language it's trying to get you to remember a little bit of what you are, and the shard of what you are can express in this place. But you got to stop thinking that you're Darren. You got to stop thinking you're Magella. You got to start questioning how good a ride this is. This is phenomenal. Whatever it is that put that golden ratio together, whatever it is that put this whole, how is it glued together? How's it sticking? Something's sticking this together. And if you look at what is expressing here, there's a multiplicity and diversity of beings, of life. There's everything going on here. And they're all different levels of forgetting. So I'm omniscient, I'm everyone, I'm everywhere in every time, but I have to have an experience of a Greek salad and vanilla or chocolate. So I'm going to wind myself down. Now I'm a hummingbird. But you have to, it's no use to have that type of aerodynamic expression as a hummingbird. You can't remember everything of what you are. You have to enjoy being the hummingbird. But you have to get rid of the idea that you're Darren. That's the personality structure. If you can start to, people want to feel a little bit better. That's all they want, Biba. They just want to feel a little bit better. We have a formula. We know. Your finger, Biba's finger, Bonnie's finger, Niall's finger, Rachel's finger, Tommy's finger, 1 to 1.6. It's the golden ratio in everyone's finger. It's mapped out. We, and you know what I'm talking about, have a formula for how to eradicate what's not happening, to eradicate the drama, to eradicate the lie, to eradicate the projection. You feel angry and you decide it's okay for you to go online and spew that anger. That projection is the problem you're trying to get rid of inside yourself. But it's only a Darren that will do that. It's only a Magella that will do that. It's only a whatever. So, what's gone on in the world, and if you go looking for the physicality of a world, it's never been found. Which I think we should just stop there. Okay, so me, you, everybody, we sit in a big circle, we get a load of cacao or whatever vehicle you like, and we just say there's nothing solid. There's nothing solid here. Just because your sense perceptions say that that wall is solid, it's not. This is mind. We're in energy. We're an expression of energy. If you want to have an easier time in this place, you have to let go of producing the drama and projecting it. So what's gone on in the world since the start of October is like this incident happens in the world or that incident happens in the world, and people are like shocked. Why? Why are you shocked? It's a wash, rinse, repeat. There's cycles that have been mapped in this place, especially by hedge funds, that can show unequivocally when this and this happens, that shows up. The reason that the same thing shows up, Biba, is because people say that they want to change, but they don't. If you want to change, then change. If you say you want to change in the world, then stop projecting your anger. Stop projecting your anger. Well, if he leaves there and he does this and no, stop, bro. Stop. You have to stop, because that very projection is the fuel. That's the fuel. So there is, when there's a skirmish, wherever, Tala. Let's say there's a skirmish in Tala. What's the solution? Well, the solution is peace. Well, then we need a path to peace. No, you don't. There's no path to peace. There's peace. There's no path to peace. When you, in your body, feel peace and the sacred geometry of what you are is known, you'll be the walking solution. That's it. It's over. So, Christedness and the idea of that particular energy and that particular being showing up again will come through your thymus. There's people texting me saying, guess who I saw? Well, that's because you opened the door. So, in my second endocrine center, it's orange. I'm a victim. But I've got this flag. I got this scarf. Right? I'm tilled up. This is the side I'm on. Okay. So that which is likened to itself is drawn. From your flag, you're claiming you want something different? No, you're not. Put your flag down. Put it down. And then understand that the sacred geometry that runs through him, you can't project the problem and then at the same token look for a solution. If you stop with the avarice, if you stop projecting your childhood from your lower endocrine centers out into the world, start taking responsibility for spiritually parenting yourself, and stop allowing the anger in your third endocrine center to fire across that boundary. Stop. Peace will show itself in your body, love will show itself in your body, and you're going to realize that it's not two things. It's just, we are in a really beautiful thing. It's endlessly magical. I can't believe my luck that I'm here. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe it. This is so good, especially when you feel good. Now, when you don't feel good, it feels tricky. I get that. But no one's coming to be your spiritual mom and your spiritual dad. They're not coming. Now, I've had some good teachers, but they couldn't stick the key in the lock. They couldn't stick the key in the lock. You got to stick the key in the lock yourself. You got to unlock yourself from a room with no windows, no doors, and dark chemistry, and you got to let yourself out. That means you need to stop the projecting. When you're about to say inside yourself that you're lonely, stop. You've never been so connected to everything always. You couldn't be more connected. It's when this is hard for people to understand, but I've been working for a little bit. So Biba has a desire to put skirting boards down. She's going to have to measure, right? She's going to have to measure from there to there. Now, this is really important. When Biba takes out the measuring tape, she's not measuring the skirting board. She's bringing into reality space, time, and distance. There's no such a thing as that's 2 foot long. You're bringing that into being. And you think it's 2 foot long because it's out there. There is no out there, Biba. It's one. So The double slit experiment, the kind of grandfather experiment in quantum physics, has shown unequivocally that the observer and the observed are inextricably connected, which means when you turn your attention to it, you're given appreciation to it. You're having an effect on the very thing you say you want to get away from. The chemistry in your third endocrine center has just taken you there like Velcro. You think that you're going to help that situation by projecting the victim in your second endocrine center, or you're going to help that situation by projecting more anger onto it. Yeah, but what they did was, that's unforgivable. No, no, no. When you're pointing your finger, you're not forgiving yourself. You want peace? Okay. Get your finger, stick it back in your pocket, and make your girlfriend a Greek salad. I'm not joking. It comes back down to the small environment that you're in. And when you think you're spending your time wisely on Twitter, all right, but don't expect a solution when you're the problem. The problem in that part of the world is you. You did it. It's you. Yeah, but if they do this, then I'm out. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You pulled out the measuring tape and then you got feedback, didn't you? So you're a creator. You're creating. Well, that's a 2-foot skirting board. All right. Okay. Whatever, man. You want to feel better, you're going to have to plug out your anger, plug out your frustration, plug out your irritation, plug out your victim. Plug it out. Plug it out of the... It's stuck in a wall socket. Plug it out of the wall socket. And you want to feel better, stop yourself from feeling bad. When it starts to get really bad inside of you and you start to become very opinionated, you're the problem. You're bringing reality. The observer effect is saying your sacred geometry self is bringing into reality a problem. You're bringing the problem in. You're bringing it in. You're the observer. You're bringing it in. So you got to get up off it. And you got to, you see, sometimes the beauty of this experience is so strong. I think it can be too strong. For some people are like, this is too strong. I need some anger or sugar. I need like half a bottle of wine, not a glass of wine. I need just, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. And we can help. Biba can help. I can help. Wind down the rage and frustration in your system until it's so wound down that the only thing is left is what you are. And when what you are shows up in your body, now it's a time to create because you feel safe. You just feel safe. When the body feels safe, it can't feel safe if you're spewing frustration on Twitter. It can't. You're actually digging, you dig yourself a hole with your victimizing language. You did this to me, so now I'm angry with you. You dig a hole, and then you're just handing yourself a new shovel. You think more anger is going to bring, and it doesn't. You need to get out of the hole, and how you get out of the hole is you realize the activity of the lower energy centers, or what the Hindus call the chakras in your body. They're overactive and they need to be deactivated in order for a new activation to occur in your thymus. It'll start to produce thymosin. It'll start to produce immunoglobulins. Your immune system will work better. You'll feel better. And you will walk in this place as helpfulness, and it'll show within you in a very unique way. Like it showed, like I mentioned, my friend Jeff, it shows with Jeff as sacred geometry. It shows as our friend Paul in the Positive Nights and the Positive Life magazine, and it shows in Biba currently as the QHHT and the this, that, and the other. And so all these unique expressions can then start to the oxytocin starts to bind, because that's what oxytocin does, it binds, and there's an expression of love through the thing you do, and the thing you do starts to be like what you do. It's important because you're whatever, man. You could, like, if you said to me, right, I'm after setting up this business in my house, and I'm offering this service. You could be giving people pool lessons. I'd be like, I'm good. It's good. It's Biba and B. She knows. She gets it. And we have our friend Aisha, and she calls herself an interior designer, and I'm like, yeah, now you're getting it. That's she now she's getting it, and so I've set up the situation in this particular WhatsApp group, and the activity has changed on it because everyone's off. They're doing their thing. Yeah, that's the point. So what is Aisha pouring into the world? The solution. It's coming in through her heart. What's Biba pouring into the world? A solution. It's coming in through your heart. And when you start to stop your projections, when you stop being a victim in the world, when you learn how to, through the meditation process, to negate all the activity in your energy centers, then what happens is light. The light is already there. It just gets seen. When it gets seen, then you're going to have an impetus, and the impetus in you is going to be, I need to paint. I need to draw. I need to create. Because when you're angry, you can't feel safe. When you start to feel safe after you've brought down the activity chemically of your lower energy centers, your heart starts to open up. Now you're different with your daughter. You just are. You're not responding to her in the morning time through the anger. It's not the vessel through which you communicate anymore. Now you're communicating from more of what you are and more of what this is, what you've always been, starts to be very obvious. You don't go through a remembering process and then remember that I'm some version of a Tommy. That's not coming. And this is not an urban renewal project on a Tommy. So there's a so-called Tommy, and the so-called Tommy goes through a so-called solid world and then goes to a so-called therapist and talks about his so-called childhood because this happened to me and that happened to me. We can do all of that. That's fine. But it has to get wound down. It has to get wound down so that you get a little flavor of the freedom you are. When you take yourself to be what you're not, which is a personality structure, you go through space-time looking for solutions all day because you're in bits. Because you're a Magella, the accountant that's pulling out the thing and thinking, I need new skirting boards. Yeah, start with investigating what you've taken yourself to be. And here's another thing. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day right now. Start thinking about the sun. Start thinking about the sun and what it does. Start noticing how much you don't notice it. Start noticing how much it's just on. What is that? Well, that's the sun. Yeah. So when a jiggy giraffe down there in the Phoenix Park in the zoo looks up and sees it, what does it see? Or a hippopotamus looks up at the sun, what does it see? What does your dog see? Oh, well, they don't see the truth. That's a dog. The dog can't see what the sun is. Okay, but why do you think you see it? Why do you think you know what it is? Well, I'm human. We know what we have all this knowledge. It's a G2 yellow dwarf. There's hydrogen. Yeah, you're speaking dog. You don't know what that is. Unabated, unequivocal, shines on everyone and everything all day, every day. Completely unnoticed. That's interesting. Take its behavior and start to understand that its behavior will start to move as light and information through your heart, and you'll feel better than you've ever felt before. There is a solution. You don't notice the solution because you're up there putting a nice new flag up in your Facebook pic. Take the flag down, homeboy, put up a picture of the sun, do some Surya Namaskars, which is a salute to the sun, and start understanding that you are very, very lucky to be in a Milky Way, to be in a galaxy, to be on the arm of Perseus, to be getting shined on the way you're getting shined on. You're very, very lucky. This is a very, very coveted experience. And I'm not saying it's not tricky by times. I get it. Start thinking about the sun. Start being grateful for light. Because when sunrise is about 7 in the morning now. So where I am, I'm up higher so I can see when it comes up above the houses. So when sunrise starts and I stand out on the balcony and I look at the sun just coming up over the houses and the trees, it's so low at sunrise that you can look directly at it. So I look directly at it and I might put some music on. And I'm just watching a movie. I'm just watching this unbelievable movie unfolding. And what you can do when it's low only, low at sunset or low at sunrise. So I look at it at sunrise. You can look directly at it. The photons, the light from the sun as it's coming up, you can look directly into the center of the sun. What happens is a methylation process in your pineal gland. So just take what I've just said. When you look at the sun, there's a methylation process that happens in your sixth endocrine center, your pineal gland. The methylation process gets rid of melatonin, the sleepy drug, and turns into serotonin, the happiness, bonding molecule. That's what it turns into. And it does it through your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is connected to what broadcasts from the sun. So just take that section of this podcast, right? Just wrap it up, clip it, stick it on an MPEG or a movie or your YouTube channel. Just watch it over and over. Just watch it over and over. The light from that thing in the sky that you'd never notice because you're too busy building flags on Twitter. But get off Twitter, look at the sun, and shut the fuck up with your stop with the thing you keep doing. Start looking at the sun, watch the methylation. And understand, how come that's having an effect on me? It's because it is you. That is you. That's what wakes up is what you are. And that serotonin floods your system. It completely changes your circadian rhythm. Your sleep cycle changes when you start sun gazing in that way. There was a truckload of Native Americans that cottoned onto this a long time ago. And they had a whole thing, sun gazer thing, that they were Yeah, and they were onto something. They wouldn't have known what we know in terms of the pineal gland and stuff like that. That just fascinates me. That's there. That if you have been microdosing what's not happening, if you've been microdosing your drama, if you've been microdosing your projections and your depression and the story you keep on telling your therapist, and then your therapist catches on to you, and then you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to move therapists. So you move therapists so you can keep on telling the story because you're snorting lines of unconsciousness every day. So you wake up in the morning, oh, I'm having a bad day, I'm in a bad mood. You're snorting unconsciousness. You've just gone into the toilet of what's not happening. You got the cistern lined up, and now off you go. And then you walk out into the world and, oh, that's shit. Awful place. What a kip. Yeah, that's your measuring tape. You're building it like that. You just brought that into being. You're bringing it into being. The quantum physics experiment, the double slit experiment is backing up exactly what I'm saying. When you allow the lie of your personality to keep on spewing out the childhood that actually you never had, when you keep on letting it spew out like that in the present moment, what's going to happen is you're going to find feedback in the system that's going to convince you, I told you that's the way it is. I told you. Sure, look, he's doing that to me. Yeah, but you pulled out the measuring tape in the morning. You brought it into being. As imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes. This place doesn't mind what way. If you want to be an armed robber in this place, okay. Cool. Like, awareness doesn't care. Awareness doesn't mind what this is or how it shows itself. It's a multiplicity and diversity. Netflix would be very boring if it was like 100 bodhisattvas all sitting there in whiteness. Well, it's Netflix. We need to have documentaries on UFOs. Makes it exciting. So this is God's Netflix. This is it. The multiplicity and diversity of 80,000 different plant forms in the Amazon. Surely 20,000 was enough. No. Turn the sun on, let's roll. let's see what way this goes. It's all God. It's all God. And the coolest thing about it being all God and all light and all love is the coolest thing about that is the forgetting, because you have to go through a process of remembering. And when you start to see what this is, and you start to feel gratitude for the coffee that you're drinking, or gratitude for the tree that you're looking at, what do you think that does to this place? If you want to change the hologram that we're experiencing, then you need to change how you feel. How you feel is bringing into form. It's bringing into form what you want or what you don't want. If you're microdosing your depression, you're bringing into form what you don't want. And Michael Singer said it. He said it really quickly. He said that he's gotten into an awful lot of trouble for saying this. He says there's never been anybody that's depressed. Never. It's never happened. That's an extraordinary statement. I get it, though, because what he's alluding to is he's pointing you to the body. That's what he's doing. So one NDE experience that I studied, got into, looked at, showed unequivocally this woman that had so-called untreatable depression for 3 decades. So she gets a smack, she comes out of her body. The first thing that she noticed was she's not depressed. Yeah, it's in your body. That was in the body. Well, okay, Tommy, so I'm in my body and I feel depressed. What do I do? Meditate. Go into a meditative process that works for you. Now, the one thing that I'll say to people about Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditative process is on his website, drjoedispenza.com, there's a tab, and the tab says proof. Proof. Scientific, unequivocal proof. You're not going to get that anywhere else. You can see the effect that this is having. It's not Dr. Joe's meditations that is doing it. It's not. Dr. Joe's meditation is an interface that allows you to wind down the lie of your personality and woe is me and this is what happened to me and that's what I'm doing to them and all of that stuff. That all winds down. It's an interface that allows you, not unlike the sun, to experience light coming into your body. That's what it'll do every single time. It's very, very specific in how it does it. It's not the only way. There's no sadhus I know with a website that says proof on it. I like the proof. I like knowing, like, okay, so she had fourth stage cancer and she goes to an advanced workshop. So do I have to go to an advanced workshop to get rid of fourth stage cancer? No, you have to understand the electromagnetic field that was in that room of 2,000 people. Can you conjure that electromagnetic field in your apartment in Cabinteely? Yeah. 100%. We know you can. Now it's easier in numbers. And people are going to these workshops with untreatable fourth stage cancer and they're walking out and they're doing scans 2 weeks later and it's gone. And every single person that's had these experiences talks about one thing: light. And the temporal language that's been studied is showing unequivocally that what these people speak about is how I felt, how I feel, and feeling. The feeling in your body is the secret to your experience. When how they think and how they feel change, they're walking out getting scans 2 weeks later. Now I'd say, okay, that's happened to 10 people out of 1,000 workshops. It's happened to 10 people. No. There's workshops now with 2,000 people where there's 10 fellas in Zimmer frames all standing up without Zimmer frames. What is that? Why is that not like front page news? Well, it's not front page news because you're on Twitter sticking up a flag and you're raging against the machine this way. Well, okay, well, enjoy your diagnosis. Enjoy it. Have fun. Well, I've got Crohn's disease. That's exactly right. Oh, well, it's Crohn's disease. It's not from thinking, feeling, thinking. Okay, keep going. Crohn's, dead, out of your body. Oh, yeah. So you get it outside your body, get it in your body. No one gives a monkeys. It's eternal. It's never stopping. It never started. It's not a centrifuge. It just keeps going. So you can do it whatever way you want. But it can generating the electromagnetic field of peace when it starts to happen to people. They're meditating. They send me a little text and they tell me what they saw. I seen him and him. It's like, yeah. And they're like, that's normal? Yeah. So they're like, what does that mean? What it means is they're there. Just because in the little radio station of your drama, you can't see jack shit because you're putting flags up on Twitter, don't be thinking that they're not there. They're there. You can't see that they're there because you're busy projecting your stuff. Stop projecting your stuff. Start to meditate. And when you start to see them, now you're there. Where? In a different frequency. in a different form of light, you're there. You can't see them unless you're there. You can't, of course you can't. That's FM 104. And I'm saying this specifically because people think radio waves are radio waves. They're not. There's no such a thing as a radio wave. It's light. Radio wave is a form of light. FM 104, 98 FM. You're on 98 FM looking for love and peace and light. It's not there. It's not there. It's up, 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 up. And what you need to do is, why are so many of these meditations that I've pointed to called tuning into this or tuning into that? Why? Because you got to tune into a particular frequency. So if in a radio there's a diamond and a dial and you use the radio tuner, where's the radio tuner in your body? Your pineal gland. It's a transducer. It receives and it broadcasts. So you got to let go of feeling bad in order to start feeling good. When you start feeling good, you're going to see things in this world that are just outside of your vision, just out to the side. And it's like, Tommy, I saw a green orb. Okay, when did you see that? Well, I just meditated and I was feeling a bit sleepy and I wasn't really kind of putting flags up on Twitter and I just pottering around drinking chamomile tea and I saw this thing. Did you? Yeah, because they think it's just shown up. No, it's always there. You're not there because you're on Facebook giving out about your cousin's wedding. Majella. Stop. The drama inside your body and the beauty becomes obvious. That started with Greek salads, did it?
10-step formula.
When I cry and the serotonergic system is cleaning, it's just that feeling of oneness, that there's no distance. It's an overwhelming level of love in my body. It just keeps it. Chemistry within the body, when it takes, it just becomes very, very addictive. Cortisol is extremely addictive, but oxytocin is 10x as addictive. Get your body completely strung out on bonding chemicals like oxytocin. It's a great way to be in this place, and you don't have to turn into your day and say, okay, you're not going to a battle in the day. You can change the day by changing how you feel. You can, when you go to super value and your electromagnetic field is just really enjoyed the fact that there's a thing in this world called birds that fly around in trees, and you're just in awe of that, and you go into super value. The lady that's at the till is just glowing. That's weird. I glow, it glows, she glows. Okay, now leave your gaff and birds have pooped all over your car. You're like, this is, and then you allow it to centrifuge. It's worse and worse and worse. By the time you get to super value, you've forgotten, because the cortisol levels have stopped you forgetting your shopping list. So you've completely forgotten what you're going there for. And then you get to the tail with loads of items that you don't need there to compensate for the feeling. So now you've picked everything up off the thing because you're compensating for a difficult feeling. Watch the lady that shows up at that till. Different lady. That's weird, isn't it? It's just so weird that when I feel good, the hologram shows good. When I feel bad, the hologram shows bad. Well, I want a way out of bad. Okay, so we've given you the formula. There's the way out of bad. Oh yeah, but no, but I don't want that. Well, what do you want then? You want some, who do you want, who do you think is going to do it for you? Well, no, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to go get selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. Bingo. Go for it. The original developers of SSRIs have shown, they're now saying out loud, they never worked. They don't work. They get the same piece of serotonin, stick it in a shotgun in your brain, twist it around and blop and blop, and they just keep on throwing the same piece of Why not get serotonin from the sun? Tommy, now you're full of shit. That's all woo-woo. And the methylation process of your pineal gland when you look at the sun is woo-woo. No, you're just full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about because you want to keep feeling bad. So you're full of shit. I've got a list of 10 therapists that will take your next mortgage payments for the next 10 years. No problem. Here's their number. They'll keep taking it. No problem. You're full of shit. That's not true about the sun or light. Okay. Cool. See you soon. I'll wait. And every single time, 14 years later, a fella came back to me and he said, "You remember that thing you said?" He said, "I don't like to admit it, but you were right." And Biba, like, I really don't care. It makes no difference to me. If it's a trumpet, it's not a clarinet. If it's a trumpet, it's not a clarinet. It's not a saxophone. It's not a drum kit. It is what it is. So when someone sits in front of me and they start to produce what's not happening, I just wait. And I'm like, are we done? You got more? No problem. So you just talk away there. Let it pour out of you. 15 minutes later, you good? Is it over? Okay, cool. Now, everything that you said for the last 15 minutes, 30 minutes on our work together, stop that. Don't do that again. But I have to talk about my problems. But that's not working. You've been talking about your problems since you were 16. The problem is you continue to talk about your problems and you don't instantiate a solution. Where's the solution? And the thing that people don't want is they don't want to be the solution. They don't want to be, you are what you've been looking for. You are what you've been looking for. When the spiritual mother or the spiritual father shows up through the methylation process of light entering into your system, you can look at the thoughts that you have, at the feelings that you have, and you can say, not today. Stop jumping on the raft and whitewater rafting cortisol all day when you don't have to. Start understanding the observer is observing, I think this, I am that, I feel this way. Why, if you feel anger, why do you propagate and promulgate the anger as if it's bringing you to some sort of solution? The very anger that you're unconsciously producing in your body is the problem. It's the total problem. Okay, I'm going to have to go out and get some help. No one's coming. The holotropic breathwork community will sit there and they'll take that anger all day long. 10 years. You'll be pulling radiators off walls. You'll be screaming. You'll be yahooing. You'll be thinking you're going through a birth experience and then you're this, that, the other. And at the end of it, you're going to have affected your immune system by wash, rinse, repeating the past into now. You don't want to wash, rinse, repeat the past into now. You want to wash, rinse, repeat the future that you'd like to have into your body, and you'll feel better.
Like tuning into a new potential, possibly.
Tuning into a new potential, tuning in with your heart. Listen to the titles of these meditations. They're just telling you unequivocally. And it's just amazing, Biba, that the unconscious will produce the problem, it'll project the problem, then it'll go looking for the solution, and it will never admit that it was the problem.
Well, that's just a mirror, though, for how this program plays itself in this reality.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
solution,
stunning.
Problem, solution.
Exactly.
Bomb this place, and then you send, we're going to send in aid to help you all.
Yeah.
It's just repetitive.
Yeah.
Fractals of repetition.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a great, smart, intellectual individual called Ray Dalio that has a great sort of, he's one of the top hedge funds in the world, and he started to study the cycles of war, because all cycles of war are very connected to money and finance and the money lenders. And he studied it and he trades it based on it, and he can say, yep, there's a war coming right about now. Pop, as if by magic. How does he know? He knows because he knows that the Romans in Rome, as the empire was falling, were never willing to admit that they were part of the problem. That empire falling is happening now. It's happening in America. So the Roman Empire is America. It's the same cycle. And everybody's like, well, what happened on this date that's an atrocity, and it's this happened, and just zoom out. Zoom out.
Yeah, it could just keep zooming, because even zooming. In whoever wrote the Bible, when God says to Adam, "Where are you hiding? Come here, come and walk in the garden today. You're hiding from me." He goes, "Well, I'm hiding because the woman you gave me made me bite the apple." So he blamed God and her. The woman you gave me.
Yes, it's double blame. It's blame everywhere.
It's so reinforced in this matrix grid.
Yeah.
Just keep pointing the finger. Don't be accountable. Don't take any responsibility for your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And you have to know your thoughts. Like, if you don't know yourself, your thoughts are not your own. You're being influenced by everything that you're perceiving in your senses, and you're thinking thoughts that they're not even real. You're not even, it's
exactly.
It's action, reaction. Turn the telly off.
Yeah.
Because that's just a freak show, actually. Do you remember years ago they had freak shows?
Yeah.
When they bring people with all weird parts and things like that. Tall people, small people, mini people. I mean, I would have loved to have gone to one of them freak shows.
Yeah, bearded ladies.
I went into Super Value. I'll just tell you, we went into Super Value last week, me and my daughter. I was lashing outside. It could have been a potentially very bad weather, you know. It was a great day. We went out to Super Value, and the vibe in this place was just so, it was like Nook Grove in the 1980s. It was dum. I had that thread, you know. So I go in and I'm blissed out, right? And I go up to the till, and there's a woman there, and she's got decaf Barry's tea. And she's about, I don't know, 85, 90. And I said, decaf Barry's tea, that's interesting. She said, yeah, it's really nice. And she had a bottle of red wine or white wine. So I said, well, enjoy it. She goes, oh, the white wine's not for me. I was like, that doesn't matter who it's for. So she goes on for about 10 minutes about Barry's tea. Okay. So then we go up and she puts her bits of shopping in. And then I say to the cashier, just, I'll get that. Just continue with my shopping and just let me get that for her, you know. And my daughter's with me. And so when I went down to put my stuff in, she goes to pay the woman. And I said, no, let me just get that for you. She goes, no. And she just went, no, you just can't do that. And I just went, but I just did. She goes, no, but why would you do? She got angry with me.
Yeah.
So I said, you need to go and deal with that yourself, that whatever that's going on the side of you, I'm just saying it was lovely to talk to you, and thanks for taking the
Yeah.
time to explain about decaf tea.
Mm.
And she looked at me, right? And I mean, the entire environment shifted.
Mm-hmm.
She said, in my whole life, no one's ever bought me anything.
Wow, man.
Ever. And
Wow.
she just said, can I kiss you? Can I hold you?
Wow.
She grabs me, right? And she just holds me so tight. And she's like, I feel nothing but love for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm holding her. Then I go and I just say, enjoy, you know. So then I go back and my daughter just goes, Mum, what a day. Like, that was
Mm.
incredible. What happened in the environment was incredible. So then I go to the cash till, the lady, the cashier, and she's sitting there going, nice one. And I said to
Mm.
her, see, you know. And she goes, and so do you. It was
She
the
got it.
sync. She got it. And the guy who was waiting for me was on his phone going, we should hurry the fuck up, hurry the fuck up. He was just like in the matrix, you know. And I just thought,
Sure,
man,
sure.
but that entire day shifted energetically because we all were in a bubble of oneness
Mm.
just by one conversation.
Mm. A
It's
simple
that simple.
act.
It's
It's a
that simple.
simple act. Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. And that chick that, and then, you know, the cashier picks up on it, Bonnie picks up on it, the lady picks up on it, and it starts to spread. Now that cashier, she's different with the next guy, she's different with the next lady. It's different. It has an effect. People remember things like that. Why do they remember things like that? Because it's so out of, it seems so out of the normalcy here. But when when those little acts become normal, the hologram changes. When you stop seeing the surface of a thing and start to see through the thing, and you start to see the thing in front of you as what you are, you're good. You'll never be the same again. You'll be a bodhisattva walking through this place as a solution, having no desire whatsoever to be seen as that. You'll just be that thing.
Exactly.
And people won't notice it. People won't notice it on the surface of you, but it'll just be, something will be moving from you. And what's moving from you is a measurable electromagnetic field. It's measurable. That's
Yeah.
so the act, that simple act in super value with that lady talking about decaf tea has the electromagnetic waves that move through you to her frequency, as she in her normal life might have a slight sense of something lower. Her frequency comes up, meets yours, the cashier meets, so everybody, all boats will rise in that incoming tide. You just have to be the incoming tide. So you have to go against the so-called normalcy of what happens in super value on a day like that at that particular time. It can be quite manic. People are quite in hunter mode and this, that, and the other. So in order for something to be different, you have to be a node within this matrix, and you have to be a node that's willing to move differently. You have to be, or else this thing just on and on it goes. Evolutionarily, it will, the sympathetic nervous system and the fight or flight system, it doesn't have to be active in super value. It's okay. You're not bow hunting for wildebeest. You know what I mean? You're just going down an aisle. Relax. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not, you know what I mean?
Right? We're not going to miss a
Jeez.
flight.
We're good. You know what I mean? There's lots of chill out. Yeah, and relax the system. Mm.
And I said
Yeah.
to Bonnie, even in the car, we just spoke about how different we both felt. And I said, it's that easy to feel good.
Yeah.
If you ever feel like you're not feeling great, go to the supermarket and talk to somebody and
Mm.
change it. Like
Yeah.
sometimes when we engage with another, it can when we mirror that to another, we can really then become that. Sometimes when you're in your own head and if you live by yourself,
Mm. Yeah.
but if you go out into the world and go to the petrol station and go and talk to the guy and the cashiers are the best. I have the
Best.
best time with them.
Big time.
They're the best because they're in an environment where they're just there to just take your money. People don't
Yeah,
even look at them.
I
So
know.
when you say to a
Yeah.
cashier, "How you doing?"
Mm.
Initially they won't answer because they're not used
Yeah.
to being asked. Well, when I just
Yeah.
go, "How?" and then the little name badge, "How you doing there?" They just
Mm.
go. It's almost like the world pauses,
Yeah.
and
Trance. They come out of the trance.
they've come out of the trance.
Mm.
But going back to tuning into new potentials, here's a thing, because the morning times you often share about mornings. So I woke up this morning and I was preoccupied with my dreams. So I just immediately put my headphones on and go into tuning into new potentials, because
Mm.
whatever my dream was trying to dominate my thought process,
Mm.
because it
Mm.
was one of them intense dreams. So I said, no,
Mm.
tuning into new potentials. Then it goes, think of a new potential after about 30 minutes. So you've sat in yourself, you've aligned, you've gone into the universe of yourself, and you're drawing that out and you're becoming that. Think of a new potential. It's like, I am the abundance. And when I do that in the morning time, before I go to the bathroom, before I make a coffee, before I feed my cats, before I wake my kid, before I have time to think about my problems, I put my
Mm.
headphones in. And when I put
Mm.
my headphones in, I pixelate into the
Mm.
nothingness.
Mm.
So then when I become nothing, then there's no problems.
Mm-hmm.
There's only solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can then create what I want in my day. What I want to, I am the abundance. I am health. I am wealth. I am wellness.
Mm.
I am the solution. And without those, for me, some people don't meditate, but for me, when I meditate like that, it's setting up my system for the day. So when I go
Mm.
to the petrol station and I say to the guy, "Oh my God, it's 100 euros to fill up my car, but it was only 70 euros 2 months ago. I mean,
Mm.
what's that about? Is that another
Mm.
war?" I just go, €100. Isn't that mad?
Mm.
How are you doing?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same conversation, but coming from a different place.
Exactly. Yeah. And it
Really
has
important.
that has huge ramifications just for it, the way the world changes, the way the hologram shows up differently is when you learn how to change how you feel on average in your day to an upside, to a higher frequency feeling. You literally, when you feel better, you change the world for the better.
Yeah.
Stop getting dragged in to the lower frequency feelings and stop buying in to the idea that there's a big problem. Start at least to say, okay, if you want to have a big problem, have 50% of a big problem, and then start to notice 50% of light, trees, birds, information, hippos. You know what I mean? Just sit and think about a rhino. Look at some Google images of rhinos. Try and work that out. What is that? How is that acceptable that that's in the Phoenix Park? There's a dinosaur in the Phoenix Park right now, less than a 20-minute drive from where I am. How's that acceptable? Just think about the absolute. And all you got to do is pay a tenner or €12 to go in and look at it. To have a look at this living dinosaur. You can do that right now. That's amazing. This place is amazing. It's just the gift that keeps on giving. And when you can see it, it starts that what happened in super value with what you've just said becomes very addictive.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you want. That's what you want. Because you'll understand, you'll be the living example of a particular type of truth. The type of creation that comes through you will be a unique shard of light. Everything creative that comes through your system and into the world will propagate the hologram as a solution. It's just we know the formula.
But we do know the formula for. There's two things. One for me is, you talk about proof. I my own proof. I don't need to read a website. Like some people need proof. I'll give myself the proof. You can tell me it works all you like, but let me try this and road test it myself. And I'm the living proof that this works for me. So that's
Mm-hmm.
all I need to know. And secondly, when you decide to become your own solution, you have to be willing to really stand in your own power and stand in your own truth. So you're not wavered into, well, talking to people who you don't know, or what would they think, or doubting yourself. You can't stand in your own essence when you are concerned about what other people think.
Mm.
You can't permit yourself. It doesn't work like that. You can't
Mm.
act the same and expect the same results.
Mm.
You have to be willing to change, and that change
Mm.
may look very different, and you may have to act very differently. But when you
Mm-hmm.
start acting differently, your body, which is your avatar, which is its own sentient being, you're the god of your body. It's waiting for you to act differently so it can respond differently. If
Mm.
I keep saying, well, I don't like talking to strangers, well, then, you know what? You're always going to be lonely,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Well, then go and find something to say. Watch a couple of documentaries and get yourself a
Mm.
subject that you're passionate about. Like,
Mm.
change it up yourself. And when I want you, Tommy, to just for a moment talk to those who have done that. What does it look like? So let's land on the plateau of you're now there.
Mm.
Talk to me about that. What's that like?
So, as the neuronal activity and the endocrine center activity starts to wind itself down, what happens is that synaptic connections are getting pruned, and they're getting pruned apart, which means the personality structure of what you've taken yourself to be starts to decouple. As it starts to decouple chemically and biologically, physically, when it starts to decouple, what starts to show up in your body without any effort or achieving or without anything that you have to do, what shows up is an inherent peace. So when the war in the lower part of your body ceases, peace is not something that has to be, you don't have to walk out of the war zone of your personality and try and find peace. You just have to stop warring in the lower part, and then peace shows up. When peace shows up, interactions, obviously this place is built in such a way that it tries to take your attention into lower frequencies all the time. It's trying to dance that dance all the time. But what starts to happen is you start to see solutions. What starts to happen is everything in your self-centeredness, in your selfishness, in your lower part of your body, your ego, when that gets sort of, when that activity ceases, what it's always trying to do down there, it's trying to produce what's known. It's trying to produce safety and control and what's known. When that activity ceases, what starts to show up is the unknown. And the unknown is the gift that keeps on giving, because the unknown actually has the very thing that you've been trying to magnetize towards you. So one thing that's very important in these conversations is resonance. It's the idea of we had a situation recently where I was working with a person in particular, and I was with them for 2 hours, and a very particular frequency of what needed to be said was getting said, and I was instilling this particular sound into this man's body. And the word that was used, the word that was expressed was chieftain. The word was chieftain. And the energy of chieftain, what, when that was frequentially named, in other words, you're not this, you're that, and just let your body sit with that, that chieftain that sits like an elder, that chieftain is a chieftain of peace. That's what was being broadcast. That's what we were investigating. That's what we were navigating. And it was about a 2-hour navigation. Rachel, myself, and this man jumped into his car, and we were driving out the driveway. We stopped, and a big truck went by, and then we took off out after the truck, and we were heading in to the small village, and we got up behind the truck, and on the back of the truck it said chieftain. Okay, so this is really important. Stop trying to extrapolate the idea of the law of attraction. It's not attraction, it's resonance. Think about it this way. How could a truck with the word chieftain, after we've been using the word chieftain for 2 hours, how could it not show up? That's the way you need to be thinking. How could it not show up? It had to show up. It was resonant. It's called resonance. When the opera singer sings and a certain note starts to move through her vishuddha, that sound wave hits the wine glass, and the wine glass starts to reverberate because it's hitting the same resonance, and then boop, it pops because it's exactly the same frequency. There was a bridge built in the late 1800s, and when the army went onto the bridge and they walked across, they had a big problem because their marching hit a particular frequency, which was the same frequency as the bolts, and it went pop, 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 pop. Bridge came down. There was 200 soldiers that were killed in that particular crossing, and it was to do with the resonant frequency of their marching matching the bridge build, and it popped just like the wine glass popped, just like the chieftain truck showed up. That's how it shows up. So what's showing up in your hologram, in your world, in your environment, in your family, in your daughter, in your dog? What's showing up is a frequential match to what you're broadcasting. And you have the ability to change the frequency of what you're broadcasting so that when you take responsibility for what you're broadcasting and you start to disallow and disavow yourself to broadcast the depression that you've never had, it's your body. So when you stop that broadcast, and then something more light, more serotonin, more oxytocin starts to broadcast, you're going to see that which is likened to itself is drawn. It's called fifth dimensional creation. It cannot but come to you. But as soon as you go looking for it, you've lost it. So I drive out in the driveway with my friend, with Rachel. We get to the thing, the truck goes by. Now I'm looking for chieftain. Let me see if there's anything in the word. It just passed you. You didn't see it. So everybody is looking through the law of attraction idea. Oh, well, it's not showing up. It's not showing up because your second endocrine center is feeling the lack of it. When your second endocrine center feels the lack of the thing that you want, what you're getting is the lack of the thing in the field. That's kind of how it works. So it's like if you even take Nassim Haramein, you take his foundation. It's called the Resonance Foundation. It's called the Resonance Foundation. You listen to Dr. Joe, it's tuning into this and tuning into that. When you listen to Tony Robbins will talk about certitude, and he'll talk about the frequency of certainty. And when the frequency of certainty is in your body, and when you've made a particular commitment and that certainty enters into your body, it is a frequency. That certainty is a frequency that starts to broadcast, that starts to outshine the frequency, the lower frequencies of the fourth stage cancer. It's certainty. And what happens in the 2,000 person workshops with Joe is people go all in. When they go all in, they go to the workshop because I want to get rid of this cancer. But no. Forget about the cancer. Forget about chieftain. Forget about this. Forget about all of that. All you got to do is realize that the personality structure that you're in has all it's creating this damage in your cells. So when you go to do this particular meditation in that bigger workshop, there's a certainty that people understand. I have to change me. I have to change me. If I don't change me, then what follows is this. It's as night follows day. Everything, if you think about one thing is not two things. When they say everything's connected, it's not a spiritual trope. It's one thing. It's oneness. It's Advaita. It's non-duality. It's one thing. Understand that the word chieftain showed up literally 15 minutes after we had been speaking about it. It showed up on this road right in front of us because of resonance, not because Tommy is a good manifester. Forget that. That's not working. Everything is coming through you. There's light. The light comes into 87654. Your 8th energy center is about 16 inches above your head. It comes in that way. If you want that throughput to be clean, you have to feel good. Now, if you don't want to feel good, that's fine. But don't look for this world to be different if you're not willing to feel different about this world. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. How do I change how I look at things? Change how you feel. Change how you feel to the upside. Have nicer conversations, which doesn't mean, okay, that means I need to be a better person. No, it doesn't. It means get on your couch, shut your hole for an hour. So as soon as the anger comes, shut the up. No. When the complaining comes, shut it down. Sit, eye mask, stick the meditation on. Over the no. You said you want to change, so shut it down. Stop your bullshit. And watch what happens. Yeah. That's how it works. And it's the thing is that this isn't my opinion. I've no interest in my opinion. I really don't. What the Tommy character wants to produce, it doesn't even have any hold. And when it tries, I just look at it. I'm like, I just say, try again. Try again. Release a little bit more anger. Just try again, see what happens. Then, boop, unhook it. Then I can get a very addictive thought in this form or that form. I'm like, oh. So it comes, starts to entangle, starts to get kind of nice feelings, chemically nice feelings, and then starts to get into trickier, stickier. I let it go, get it sticky, really bad, starts wrapping around me, and you're getting mummified by this feeling and this thought and this dysfunction. So I let it wrap, right? And then you're mummified at like 2:00 in the morning in bed by this thought and feeling that's now it's as true can be. Then I just unhook it. Boop, stop. And people are like, you can't do that. You better.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. Okay, but you better. Because if you don't, what Has your therapist ever shown up at the end of your bed at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're mummifying yourself in what's not happening? No, they're not there. They're just not there. They're not coming. Everybody's waiting on mom and dad to meet them. Well, you can have a fatherly, a motherly energy, but it's going to look like you. You are what you've been looking for. You are where you're looking from. You are where you're looking from. You can change this whole thing. One little molecule of oxytocin at a time. Yeah. I'm so interested as to, I work with different people in this way, and I sit with people and navigate with people, and I'm just really interested to see this take in people. Who's gonna get this? Who do you really want to change? Well, I like watching that. I'm amazed by that. And when people start to feel better, though, what comes through them is just unbelievable. Like the relationships that I have, they're good. Do you know? Some people that I'm friendships and stuff have to be navigated differently because the unconscious bonding mechanism of the past clicked him into him. So that has to be renegotiated, and some people won't want to do that. But that's fine. Other people show up that are not biographical copy and pasting from your past. What we're trying to do is we're trying to stop the copying and pasting of 1979 onto 2023, 2024. And imagine that. So the skirmishes that have gone on in the world, there's a particular movie that expresses all the different angles of it. And now that movie is going to be presented in Dublin. Right? And everybody's going to go and they're going to watch this movie about this thing. Okay, so don't play that movie. Stick on The Lion King. Stick on The Jungle Book. Remember how The Jungle Book made you feel when you were 4? Stick on Mowgli. That's what you want. That's what you really want. You don't want to watch that other thing. You don't. Because at some level, you know that I am frequently resonating with what's on that screen, and never the twain shall meet, and on it goes. Okay. I told you, stick on The Jungle Book. Well, that's ridiculous, Tommy. That's not a solution. Oh, yes, it is. The Mowgli inside your system being free to swing from tree to tree, enjoying this place, is exactly the solution. Well, it needs more than that. A boardroom with a oak table and 10 men there and 10 men there and probably 2 women over here, right? And they're going to work all that out. No, they're not. They've never worked it out. It's never worked. It's all just happening again. So what's the solution? Mowgli. Kindness, warmth, serotonin. Just get rid of your preferences. Get rid of your opinions. Get rid of the idiocy that quantum physics will usurp every single time, that you're separate. You're a long-lasting, individual, separate self. That's not fucking true. You're light and information. That's never been separate to anything. This has been built in such a way that it makes it look separate. It makes it look, well, you're in that place, and I'm in this place, and that means this, and that means there. None of it's
like
true.
All our differences. I mean, they put a big bridge in between each thing to give the illusion that we're all separate, but in actual fact, separation doesn't even exist.
It's a fallacy.
It's like death. It's just not even real. It's just a word.
Yeah.
And you choose to believe that that's a word and that word is real because it's in existence.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
like saying, okay, so, do you believe anything then? Can you give us an example of a day in the life of T? T meaning Tommy.
A
Just an
day,
example, because I know you're you get up to
all sorts of things. Yeah.
you're firing out messages at 5 a.m. for breathing exercises. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
just a
And
typical example of a day in the
so,
life of T.
one of the, I kind of, I kind of let myself, like, when I've no interest in what Tommy wants, so I've no real interest in what Tommy wants. The thing that so I'm getting onto this thing with, I can't fully illuminate it right here and right now, but I will with you sometime. It's to do with temporal language. When I get up in the morning, in order for my foot to hit the floor, I need some cortisol. So you got to watch the first footstep off the bed onto the floor, because it induced, there's a little bit of cortisol that's needed to make that move via the autonomic nervous system. Watch how you think and feel in the morning. And I started to call it out a long, long time ago. One of the things that's helped my system is particular frequencies, tones, and music, just drony type of music that's very, very helpful. And I might have a spiky thought, but it comes in as a singular thought. And I'm just like a sniper. The observer in me is like a sniper, and it just cuts it down because it's trying to broadcast what's not true in my environment. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. So I take sniper shots at what's not happening, and I say, no, no way. And I make sure that as I'm moving, that the cortisol doesn't take over. And then there will be things to do. So I got to do this thing here and I got to do that thing there. I have to make sure that the things that I do are done with a good feeling. So I make sure that when I internalize that email, or when I internalize the thing I have to do, that it doesn't feel bad. Make sure you don't feel bad about the things you're doing. Try and allow yourself to feel good, and don't be extrapolating or internalizing a problem. So I'm all the time making sure that the lie of the lower body doesn't get to propagate. And as I've done that, it's called metacognition. And as I've gone on sniper duty, the sniper being made of light, and I've gotten those synaptic connections cut away, I always make bulletproof coffee in the morning for Rachel and myself, and I kind of do it like the Greek salad. I do it like in an order, and I'm I just try and do it a bit different and a bit better every day. I'm kind of always tinkering with chemistry and this, that, and the other, and I will, like, when Rachel receives bulletproof coffee in the morning, it's like it's the first time she's ever gotten it. I'm doing it like 8 years. It's like the first time she starts jumping up and down. So it's a great kind of call and response that goes on. There's a lot of love that goes on. Actually, one of the things is that we start we hug each other a lot, and we shore up the oxytocin a lot. So in bed, we hug a lot. And very often before we go to sleep and when we wake up in the morning, Rachel will kind of go asleep again on me. So she as soon as she hits me, as soon as she hits off here, she goes like right here, puts her head there, it's lights out. You can feel her. She clips out. She's out to the top of she's gone. It's amazing. So I'm aware of all of those little things in a day, and I've started to become much, much more aware of who you're serving, how you're serving, service, and the frequency of giving. The frequency of giving is becoming, and if I allow myself a jealous thought or an envious thought, I would be quite envious. I'd be quite jealous of the amount that Tony Robbins has given to people that have nothing. I'm quite like, that's just amazing. I really have a desire for some of that, just to be able to give at the level that he's talking about. He's talking about food giving people food that have no food right now, and it's in the amount, it's in the billions, of meals he's given to people. I just fucking like, yeah, he's a good giant. Some people, they're clouded by the hormones of stress, and he just comes right in. And I woke up to that particular giant about a month ago, and it's not what my third energy center thought. What my third energy center thought of him in all its wonder was a crock of shit. What a liar I was inside myself about him. And I've if I could do 1/100th in this place, even to mimic that 1/100th, I'd be like, yeah, that's good. It's just so I'm very aware of him. I'm very aware of what we're all doing in the world. When I go into the gym, there's new gym wear for girls. There's new gym wear, and it makes girls' asses look a particular way. And I thought it was just me. I was like, what's going on here? Everyone's ass is kind of different. What's happening?
Yeah.
So you go into the gym, right? And there's fellas huffing and puffing and hoofing and pushing this, that, and the other. So there's a lot of testosterone. There's where it's like the monkey enclosure in the Phoenix Park. Yeah. So now I'm in it. So I'm in the monkey enclosure. And when you go into the monkey enclosure, you start to move a little bit like a monkey. And I need to say, okay, hang on a second there. Relax. So there's a lot of testosterone. There's a lot of peacocking. And now there's this thing, and I didn't know it, but it's a kind of a visual trick. They're making these girls kind of yoga pants and training. They're making them differently, and they make everything jump out. So everyone's like a Kardashian, right? So everybody's like a Kardashian, and there's all, so it's all peacocking and attracting. Okay, but I'm here doing something kind of specific, and there's Kim Kardashian's asses everywhere. Okay, so you need to kind of think about this. What are we doing? Because your eyes, I'm male, right? And I'm a male chimpanzee, and it wants to. And what I need to do is stay on track with what I'm doing. What did I come here for? What am I doing? Well, you're doing this. Okay, so then you need to not do that. You need to not do that. So that kind of, when they put on this sexually dysfunctional, why are you coming? Like I wanted to say to one girl, why'd you come to the gym in that? What's happening? That couldn't get further up there. And like, what are we doing? And I mean, it's 7 a.m. They're dripping in MAC cosmetics and this I'm like, what are we doing? It's like lilies in 1989. It's madness.
It's mating season.
So
Every day.
I watch all of that stuff in me, and I don't allow it. So I disallow it and I disavow it, and then you get to be in the gym very, very differently. So being in the gym is different. It's not mating season at the zoo like it used to be. Breakfast is different. Like with the bulletproof coffee with Rachel, the meditation practice is it. When meditation practice gets to be like brushing your teeth, everything changes. So meditation is just like, yeah, I'll do one now, do one now, do one now, whatever. It's a kind of a medicine. And when I work with people, what I do often when I work with people is I sit and I just kind of, again, just like in the gym, I let everything go and then see what kind of shows up. And then I would often get a lot of clarity about where this needs to go. And then I just get that clarity, and then I'll work with people one-to-one. I'll work in a group, do that type of thing. And one of the things that's changed as well is that I do all the cooking. So, and I'm getting so tuned into the brilliance of Gordon Ramsay. I mean, he's a genius with what he does. So then I'm kind of learning all that sort of stuff. And I love, because I'm kind of producing something and I'm giving something to somebody and it just feels good. Yeah, so all the time I'm adjudicating my own kind of hologram and upgrading it to the upside all the time. And I pretty much feel good, feel peaceful, feel the warmth and the wholeness and oneness like it's 95% of the time. Because that's what, and when something dodgy comes in, you can deal with it much better. As some of our friends have had different, parents that might get sick and they need to, yeah, but you got now 2 years of meditation under your belt. Your fight or flight system ain't igniting for that. It's going to be of service. Yeah. There's a lot to that. Yeah. So I hope that answers that.
You've given me some nice things to think about there, about how I actually brought my daughter to the gym because I wanted her to experience the gym. And I went to Fly Fit in Georgia Street, and I went 3 times. I said, I just can't do this anymore. I just can't be here. It's impossible, actually, to work out here. It's impossible. And she said, actually, yeah, it is. It's so intense. And it's like mating birds everywhere. And I'm just thinking, and the music and the smell. And I thought, I actually can't stand this place. I just can't stand it. And I was in the gym. I was a personal trainer for years when I was in my 20s, and I was spent every day in the gym. But I actually, it was the opposite when I was in my 20s. It was like I was the gym. I was the kind of orangutan swinging around, super flexible, but really into my fitness, like really into how my body looked. And now I'm just into really how I feel.
Right. Yeah.
How do I feel? It's all about how I feel. And you were talking about it's how you feel. And my body felt good in there. But then these girls are just like, you're in their way because their asses are so big now. They just look so distorted.
It's distorted.
It's very distorted. And actually, I'm just thinking, can you actually see what I can see? Like, you're beautiful, but you're becoming like, you're just out of proportion now. It's not natural anymore. but that's just fashion, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
probably.
when you talk about your day or programming, the same thing, being of service really, and not listening to Tommy, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful reminder that the solution is to just go and make some beautiful food for somebody and just be
Mm,
kind and hold a cat or hold yourself or hold your
mm,
partner. And it's not to be fixed.
mm,
It's not about having a sexual fix or getting something out of them. It's about actually just being in the presence of peace.
mm, mm.
And
It's a
in
it's a it's a gift that just keeps giving.
yeah, I love it.
Mm.
I love it.
It,
I love
yeah,
I love my life. I'm like you. I just wake up and go, this place is wild.
wild, man.
It's wild.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just
Yeah,
wild. And even
hell of
my
a thing.
own, it's a hell of a thing. And I'm learning even so much about surrendering everything I know to be real and true, like
Mm,
letting it all go out to sea and just seeing what happens.
mm,
And getting to know myself without everything that I thought I believed in. And I do that
mm,
every day, and I'm doing it more now than ever. And
mm.
yeah, it's lovely to talk to you, Tommy. I could,
Yeah,
when you were
and you.
talking, actually, I was disappearing. I was like, I hope he doesn't ask me a question because,
Yeah, 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 yeah. It gets a bit psychedelic, right? It starts to trip out there. Yeah,
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 for
yeah,
about an hour, I was like, I wasn't
yeah,
aware actually of anything.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you have that
Yeah,
lovely
just yeah,
effect.
it just yeah, yeah. I get it. Yeah, it's amazing, and
And if
it's
somebody, it's sorry, Tommy, if somebody wants to work with you,
mm,
um, what would you suggest? Like, what would you, somebody who's just feeling like shit and their body's depressed? So if you said, I'm not depressed, your body's depressed.
mm,
Can you help somebody who's feeling depressed?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I and what I'll do is if they go to the website, they go to velvetvoice.ie. If you go to services, you'll see one called the Novice. It's €65, and just book that, book in for the 45 minutes an hour, and I'll promise you that I'll give you 5 things during that session that if you act on them, everything will be changed within 5 days. Everything. You'll
Wow.
send me a text message and you'll have seen a glint of light move through your system every single time. So, what I do in the sessions is I don't let what's not happening overwhelm what is happening. That's what I do. And that can be tricky for people at the start, but then they start to get it because they start to feel better. And I don't make people feel better. I show you unequivocally that actually the truth is you've never felt bad. I get rid of the production that you're producing chemically, and then you'll see. And you
Yeah.
can see it now. You can see it. There's one beautiful being in our group, and it just popped. It popped, and it's just opening through her now. And she's like, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Every morning for her, she's like, this is unbelievable. And that is pure relief that she's experiencing because of everything that we've pointed to today in this conversation. There is freedom beyond anything that you've experienced in this place. It's available. It's a frequency that's available. We just need to detune you and then retune you, and you're good.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And for anyone who's interested in working with Tommy, I've done a lot of work with Tommy, and he's very adaptable to how you are, and how just adaptable. It's just tailor made for you. And you do also a monthly gathering online on Zoom. So some people are just a bit hesitant. If they just want to pop on for the monthly
Yeah,
session you have on Zoom, they can get a real flavor of what you're really talking about, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's called the Superhero Satsang. It happens roughly once a month. It's going to be happening November 5th, which is this coming Sunday. Starts at 10 a.m., goes for a couple of hours, and it's this type of exploration. And what you can do is you can tune in, turn your camera off, have a listen. If you don't like it, that's it. See it. And if you're drawn to it, then we can build upon what's said in the superhero satsang into a one-to-one session, into a practice, and into you feeling better. Yeah.
Beautiful. Nice work,
Yeah.
Tommy.
Mm.
Yeah, really nice. Thanks for coming back on again.
Oh, thanks for this. This is brilliant. That was a great conversation. That went from Greek salad to awesome.
Any chance you could share the 10-step formula to a brilliant
Yeah,
Greek salad? Like, because you
dude,
did the broccoli thing too, and then you did the roast potatoes
the roast
as well.
potatoes. The roast potatoes, when I was a kid, there was a gaff I went to when I was a kid, and this fella's mom made the most amazing roast potatoes, and it never left me. And now I can't believe I can do it
Wow.
every time. 1
I'm
kilo
so
bag of potatoes, and every single time. And I do it in the same 10 steps, and they're perfect. I know when to turn the fan on the oven on and off to to change the color. The whole thing, man. I got right into it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Rachel, it's just worth it. Her little eyes go into Monchichi eyes, and they're like that big. She can't fucking believe the potatoes I'm producing. I'll send you all my recipes.
Will you? Because I'm actually
Gordon Ramsay'd off my nut in here doing this stuff. I absolutely love it.
I am the absolute opposite. You'll send a picture of your salad, and I'll go to the supermarket and buy the ingredients, but it just doesn't taste like what yours looks like. You know, I'm too random with what I do with food. I'm very random. It's
random.
Like
throw a bit here, throw a bit there. Yeah. I love the formulas.
I know you are a chemist. You are a scientist in a chemist.
I love the little formulas, do you know, and the different microdosing that we've interacted with. Wow, man.
Yeah, your microdosing formula is off the charts. It's just, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because of a very sensitive system. And, I found myself, and I don't really, but you said, just try it. I thought, whoa.
Yeah. Very special little way of doing it. Researched, volumetric, done the same way every single time. There's nothing like it. It's so dependable.
Yeah,
it's very dependable.
Like you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of love.
Lots of love to you, Biba. This was amazing. Thanks very much. Yeah. Namaste, namaskar, and all that sort of business. Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, namaskar.